Hello, this is a quick video on link aggregation groups. If we go ahead here and take a look at this packet tracer topology I have open, we'll see that I have 3 switches here. Each of these bottom 2 switches have 2 links going up to this more upstream switch. And as we take a look, we'll see that one interface on each side here is blocking, which is indicated by that amber circle. That is because spanning tree is blocking one of those interfaces from forwarding on each side due to the fact that if they were forwarding, it would create a loop. As you can kind of follow my cursor here and see how the traffic would then travel and cause a broadcast storm. So what we're going to do is configure a link aggregation group on each side here so that rather than having 2 physical links, we're just going to have one logical link on each side. So one thing to note about link aggregation is there are 2 standards. One is PAGP, which is Cisco proprietary, meaning you can use it on Cisco to Cisco switches. If 2 Cisco switches were connected. However, if you're using something other than Cisco, such as Juniper or HP or so on and so forth, you need to use the IEEE standard, which is LACP. In this example here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and configure this side to be the Cisco proprietary PAGP and this side to be the IEEE standard LACP. These 3 switches are all Cisco, but since that's the case, we can pretty much use either one. And as we get into it, there's as far as the configuration goes, there's pretty little difference between those 2 standards, but we will get into that. So let's go ahead and just start with this more upstream switch here and start to get that configured. So first thing I'm going to do is go into global configuration mode, and I'm going to create the port channel. I'm going to start by going into global configuration mode, and I am going to then in global configuration mode run the command interface port dash channel, and I'm just going to assign it a number, in this case 1, and I am going to make that a trunk. There are other commands I could issue here, such as speed, description, so on and so forth. For now, I'm in this basic example, I'm just going to leave it as a trunk. Next thing I need to do is configure the 2 interface links going down to that other switch to make them a member of that port channel and also make them trunks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do configure terminal, I'm going to do interface range, and that is in this case 1 through 2, interfaces 1 through 2. First I'm going to make them trunks. Then I am going to add them to that channel group 1, and now I need to set the mode. So here's where there are some slight differences. So we are doing the PAGP standard right now, so there are 2 main options for the mode, which is auto and desirable. So auto is essentially passive. It's not going to negotiate a link aggregation group, where desirable will. Typically what I like to do is on my more upstream switch, I'll make them desirable, and on the more downstream switch, I will make them auto. So that's just what I'm going to do here for this example as well. And this is really the only, as far as the configuration goes, the only difference between PAGP and LACP, just what they call these modes. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this my desirable. Oops. Alright, so I'm gonna back out of configuration mode. I'm just gonna do a show run, see how it looks. So we got port channel 1 created, it's a trunk, and then we got interfaces 1 and 2 trunked. They are a member of that channel group, and they are desirable. I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to go ahead down to this more downstream switch here. Essentially do the same thing. I'm just going to make these auto and not desirable. So I'm going to go into enable mode. I'm going to go into global configuration mode. And I'm going to essentially do the same thing. So I'm going to do interface port hyphen channel 1, make it a trunk, back out of that, back into configuration mode, and then specifically interfaces 1 and 2. Gonna make them trunks. I am going to assign them to that port channel. And I am going to make them auto this time. I'm gonna do a show run, see how it looks. We got a port channel created. And then we got our 2 interfaces trunked and auto. Another command we could run it. This is an older switch, so I don't know if this iOS let me run this or not. It does. So if you do show ether channel summary, we can also see basically the summary of the ether channel. That's a very helpful command for link irrigation. So right now they're down, they're negotiating, but they should come back up very shortly. That's another thing about link irrigation. If you've got a live environment, you maybe only got 1 link, you want to make it 2, or you do got 2 links, but spanning tree's blocking 1 or something. You're going to want to schedule some downtime, because in the time it takes to do this, you will probably experience, at least 1 to 2 minutes of downtime. So let's see here. So I'm going to go back up to this more upstream switch, and I'm going to configure this link irrigation group here. And this time I'm going to do the LACP industry standard. We can see over here that we are now forwarding on all 4 of these interfaces, and this is acting as one logical link. So back on switch 1, I'm going to create another port channel. So I'm going to do interface port hyphen channel, make this one 2. You can really assign any number that's not already used. I'm going to make it a trunk as well. Did not like that because I spelled trunk wrong. Then I'm going to do configure terminal, go into interfaces, in this case 3 and 4. Missed range FA 0/3 through floor 4. Gonna make them trunks. I am going to add them to that channel group. To mode, and in this case, rather than auto and desirable, we're going to use LACP. And in LACP, it's active and passive. Same idea, active, actively negotiates, passive, passively negotiates. This is the more upstream switch. I'm going to make this side active. Channel group 1, mode active. Back out of that, just do show run again. Make sure it looks okay. We got port channel 2, it's a trunk. 3 and 4 are trunked. They're in channel group 2. Mode active. Okay, that looks good. go down here to this guy, the switch here, essentially do the same exact thing. Go ahead, get into global configuration mode, do interface, port hyphen channel, make this 2 as well, make it a trunk. Go into interface configuration mode, specifically 1 and 2 in this case. Make them trunks. Add them to that channel group. And in this case, I'm going to make the mode passive. And do a show run. So we got our interface port channel 2. Interfaces 1 and 2 are a member of that. They are passive. I'm going to do that show ether channel summary. And that sums up our ether channel for us. If we do that same command on the main switch up here as well, should be able to see both of those ether channels, which we do. Give this a second to come back up. Everything should turn green here. As stated before, you can kind of expect at least a couple minutes of downtime when those links are renegotiating, but they have came back up, and that's going to conclude this video. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment below and like and subscribe if it was helpful. Thank you.